Alright, Shalom. First, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakha, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. What you see before you is I guess you could call it a PDF, alright, of a book. Oh boy. The book called Jews of North Africa or Travels in North Africa by Nahum Slouch. And he was Amalekite, who was in support of Theodore Herzl, all right, the one who pushed for the Israel to become a state in 1948. And so he was a part of that, that whole Zionist movement stuff. But being that they are in power, they were able to go to these different areas, and particularly I'm going to be focusing on Carthage, all right, where Hannibal was from, all right, and they were able to go in there and with the archaeological proof and the things they dug up and found, all right, they were able to conclude, all right, well, the conclusion you draw from it is that Hannibal was an Israelite, okay, like the apostles always say. I hear Apostle Tahar say it a lot whenever he talks about Hannibal, that he was an Israelite, and it tells you that they spoke Hebrew, okay, over there in Carthage. Now this book, all right, which I'm gonna get this from, I guess it's one of those books that has so much information that they try to hide it to the point where it's they'll tell you can use it, all right, for like if it's like journalist or research purposes only kind of thing. And I try to get it. I went on Amazon, all right, Jews of North Africa, hardcover is what, January 1st, 1944. Nope, nothing, not even an image, nothing on here, man. By Nahum Slouch. All right, it says currently unavailable. We don't know when or if this item will be back in store. And then so you have another one, the one I actually have the PDF of, and I'm pretty sure it's the same book, but it's called Travels in North Africa. And he goes into the Jews, how the North Africans were Israelites. All right, and when you click on that, you see the price, $967. All right, for used, $948. Now you should ask yourself, why is this book so expensive? It's not because of any type of antiquity kind of thing to it. No, it's expensive because of the fact that it has certain information. All right, for business only pricing. All right, it has certain information in there that it's once again that you bring this out, it's coming against Esau's agenda. All right, now I'm gonna read, all right, some like 2 or 3 pages from this. This is page 227. All right, chapter 1, from Carthage to Tunis. All right, and you're gonna see how, based on the evidence that they have here, that Hannibal had to have been an Israelite. Okay, so I'm gonna read it real quick, and then we'll switch gears. All right, but it says Carthage to Tunis, magic names which stand at the head of 2 of the most glorious chapters in the history of the great Semitic family. Carthage, Kart Hadshat, new city, which that's what he's saying it means. I'm not sure if that's what it is. I'll look into it. But it says the great city of Hannibal, all right, because we know Hannibal was from Carthage, all right, which for centuries kept in check the might of Rome, all right. That was during the Punic Wars. It says, and the fall of which preluded and perhaps determined the fall of the Hebraic sister city Jerusalem, Carthage, because after Rome had taken down Carthage, Rome became a very big superpower in the Mediterranean, because Carthage used to have that role over the Mediterranean, over the ports, but now Rome had control over that, all right, which the Lord allowed that to happen for prophecy's sake. But it says Carthage, whose every vestige or vestige was destroyed by her Roman enemy, her civilization, her influence, her very monuments, today, thanks to French science, emerges again before the eyes of men in all the fantasy of ancient decorations, with her hundreds of sarcophagi, which that's like a sarcophagus, is like a tomb with inscriptions on it. Let me get it. Sarcophagus. All right, a stone coffin typically adorned with a sculpture or inscription and associated with ancient civilizations of Egypt, Rome, and Greece. So it would have certain information on it. You know, maybe like the feats accomplished by whoever's tomb it was. So it says, and statues and basements of her temples, nearly 4,000 inscriptions in the ancient tongue of Canaan have been unearthed in the city of Carthage, dating from the days of Nehemiah, of Simon the Just, of Hannibal, of Hasdrubal. Nearly 10,000 names of citizens of ancient Carthage are on record now, a city directory, as my late master M. Philip Berger so well put it together with a complete catalog of professions, of rituals, of usages, of manners, and most valuable of all, we have found again the ancient language and writing of Canaan, and rich idiomatic speech of a city which once counted 700,000 inhabitants. And let me zoom in a little bit. All right. And we Hebrew writers, because he was an Amalekite, like I said, and they call themselves Jews, they're Jewish people. So he's going, when you read through, he'll speak as though, you know, like our hometown, Jerusalem kind of thing. So you got to understand, all right, why he's speaking like that. So it says, and we Hebrew writers who write and feel in our biblical tongue have recognized at once that this so-called Phoenician language is nothing more or less than Hebrew, a pure Hebrew dialect, nearly the same as was spoken in the country of Israel in the days before the Aramaic and before the Masorah came to fix its orthographic rules artificially. All right, because prior to the Aramaic Hebrew, you had that ancient pure Paleo Hebrew, okay, which a lot of it is just different dialects, all right, of the same language. It says, and the same thing is true of the script, which is, with a few minor differences, that of the Hebrew Ibaryath, all right, which you hear the word Ibar in there, all right. That's because it goes back to our forefather Eber, all right, or Ibar, all right, which is where you get the word Hebrew from. It says, as opposed to the square script Assyrian Ashar Rayath. All right, it says, which was used in the time of David and the prophets until the period of Maccabees, or of the Maccabees. Thus, language and script show us that this Phoenician is for us Hebraeus, nothing but Hebrew. The population of Carthage was Palestinian in origin and Hebraic in civilization. And if instead of succumbing, the city of Hannibal had triumphed over Rome, it is probable, nay, almost certain, that Hebrew, not Latin, would have become the dominant language of the Mediterranean countries. Why? Because when Rome defeated Carthage in the Punic Wars, the language of Rome, Latin, became, you know, another one of the main languages in the Mediterranean world. So he's saying if it was reversed, then it would have been Hebrew. Why? Because the Carthaginians spoke Hebrew. It says, it is certain then that it was in a Hebrew dialect that Hannibal commanded the troops which he led across the Alps. You hear that? I read it again. It is certain then that it was in a Hebrew dialect that Hannibal commanded the troops which he led across the Alps. Hebrew in language and in civilization, the countrymen of Hannibal were cut off from their share in the land of God for having despised the moral grandeur of the monotheistic conception. And yet, after all, can we be sure that all the Carthaginians worship Moloch, Saturn, Baal, Cronus, or Melkart, the gods of human sacrifice? Were there no willful exaggerations in the accounts of the Roman writers and historians, who sought to excuse and justify the cruel treatment which Rome meted out her unfortunate rival? Yeah, because these Roman historians were biased towards themselves and against others. All right, you read about, like it says, like he's about to say, did not Tacitus and others beside Tacitus seek in the same way to slander the memory of our city Jerusalem, of our country Judea, such as she was before the destruction, and with all her great aspirations for a happier humanity with her pure spiritual conceptions. Yeah, because when you read in the book of Josephus, all right, it tells you, I believe it's in the dissertations, because I got the whole thing together. It tells you how you had certain Roman historians and writers who were basically you could say in a way demonizing the Jews, okay, as though they were like some different kind of barbarianish, demonizing them. All right. So here he's saying that, okay, you might have Roman historians who would have written of the Carthaginians as though they were all just a bunch of pagan, polytheistic, worshippers, okay? But were they really all of them like that? And that's why he's going to go into it. It says, no, the Carthage which is revealed to us by the thousands of documents which have been unearthed from her ashes, was a civilized society, a republic founded on the principles of justice and democracy, and forever resisting the power of oligarchy and aristocratic tyranny. It was a society similar to that which was to be found in Jerusalem and Samaria. Okay? It says where they were governed similarly. Now you got to keep in mind, because Israelites weren't governed like all other people. We had a theocracy, all right, the rule of the Most High, okay, and we would follow His laws, and our the ways we lived and the ways we were governed was after that. So if the ways in Carthage was similar, all right, to Jerusalem and Samaria, and they were governed similarly, it says what? Where they spoke the same tongue, meaning they spoke the same language, where they worshiped their gods with the same phrases, and where they even did their thinking in the same way. Why? Because they had to have been the same people. All right, remember, you had Israelites that are everywhere. All right, Israelites that were scattered everywhere, man. It says their religion, which was dominated by a trinity, Baal, Eshmon, and Astarte Tanit, 3 in 1, was, as M. Berger has so clearly demonstrated, very similar to certain other pantheist monotheistic religions. A hereditary high priesthood presided over this cult, and judging from an inscription recently unearthed, the priests seem to have been descendants of Hiram, king of Tyre, while the ritual and sacrifices are almost adaptations from our book of Leviticus and from the formulas of prayers and vows, which are still in use in our synagogues. Because remember, like I told you before, he is a Amalekite, okay? The so-called Jews. So it says, but were all the Carthaginians Trinitarians or polytheists? We learned from several inscriptions that side by side with the temples of Baal and of Tanit and of the emanation or the face of Baal or the name of Baal stood the temples wherein high priests ministered to Baal Shemaim. All right, which I believe that should mean Shemayim. All right, now Baal, okay, let me show something. Let's type Baal. All right, because I'm pretty sure Baal means, if I'm not mistaken, means Lord or something of those sorts. No, I'm looking for Baal. Damn, let me see. Baal, let's type that in. Yeah, see, Baal, properly Baal, was a title and honorific meaning owner, lord. All right, in the Northwest Semitic languages spoken in the Levant during antiquity. Okay, so the word Baal means lord. All right, so that's why it says here Baal Shemaim, which should be Baal Shemayim, all right, or Lord of the heaven. That's why they have here the God of heaven, okay, which we don't call the Most High Baal. We call him Yahweh, okay. So it says, or the power of heaven, all right. So it says other inscriptions indicate that certain tribes of Asher and Zebulun lived in Carthage ever since the foundation of the city. On the most beautiful sarcophagus found by Pierre de la Tre among the ruins of Carthage, there was a seal which bears a Hebrew inscription such as were common in Jerusalem. So now what is a Hebrew inscription doing all the way in Carthage? Okay, such as was common in Jerusalem. It says La Yawa'ab, all right. To Yawa'ab is Joab, like it says, to Joab. La means to, and Yawa'ab is Joab. It says it is well known that this name is composed of two parts, Yahweh and Abba, all right, because Joab means Yahweh is father. When you look it up here, Yah is short for Yahweh, and it says Wa Abba, okay. Yahweh is father, and it's composed of the root words Yahweh, which is the name of the Most High, for short is Yah, all right, and Abba, okay, is how you say father in Hebrew. So when you combine the two, you have Yahweh Ab, all right, or Yahweh Abba, but it says Yahweh Ab, which is Yahweh is father, okay. So it says Yahweh, they say Jehovah, but we know in the Hebrew that's not Jehovah, that's Yahweh. A great lord of Carthage therefore bore the name of a Jew faithful to the Most High. So what's a lord of Carthage doing having a Hebrew name? It says equally surprising is the fact that the same name Joab, that of David's general, figures in folklore of Africa as the conqueror of that country. This name may be met with at Tlem Sen and Tabessa and the Ud Nun in Mauritania. Other Phoenician inscriptions bear the theophoric forms of the name, it should say Yahweh, such as Joas, Joel, etc. All right, because what you'll notice is there's no J in Hebrew, so it's replaced by a Y. Like Judah is Yahawada, all right, it's a Yah. Okay, Judah is Yahawada, Joshua is Yahawashai. Okay, so it says these theories, all right, these theories were suggested to me by the results of the excavations made in Carthage during the last 20 years. So these are based on the proof that they have found in Carthage. All right, it says, as a member of the Semitic mission of the French Academy, I had occasion to observe these excavations in person, and I was given the opportunity later of expressing my opinions on the subject, for in the present state of Phoenician archaeology, it is impossible to make positive statements. A lecture which I delivered at the Institute of Carthage on the Hebrew and Phoenician civilization of Carthage. Okay, now you gotta keep in mind this is why, all right, this book is so scarce to find. Okay, and it's so expensive. I checked on eBay, man, you get a minimum for like $300 and something. Okay, because it has a lot of information that, once again, he's going into how he also goes into how the people of North Africa are Jews. All right, the Berbers and so on and so forth. All right, which they were called barbarians by the Greeks. All right, barbaros. All right, which means barbarians, but that's talking about the Berbers. All right, the Moors and all of them, which we're going to go into that as well. They were Israelites. Okay, so-called dark-skinned people, but Israelites. See, that's what they won't tell you in your history books or your textbooks in school. So it says, the Hebrew and Phoenician civilization of Carthage was taken up by the general press and discussed by a number of notable scholars. In this work, based upon direct observation and documentary evidence, I shall content myself with a mere statement of the facts. I will only mention here that I still firmly believe that there never was a language of Canaan as such, and that it was merely a dialect of the language of the Hebrews. You hear that? So what was the language of the Hebrews? Hebrew. Okay. So it says the language of Canaan wasn't like another language. Okay. It was just a different dialect of Hebrew. It says, but the interest of the Jewish reader will not be confined to Phoenician or Punic Carthage. Roman Carthage is a veritable storehouse for the Jewish historian. We need only mention Hammam el-Lith, a watering place close to Tunis, where the ruins of a synagogue of the Roman epoch have been rediscovered. The Cape of Gamart, where a large Jewish necropolis is a cemetery. Necro means dead, polis means city. So city of the dead, all right? And that's what? A cemetery. It says, of an individual character was discovered by Father Delattre, Delattre, maybe that's how it's pronounced, Delattre. And then there are numerous inscriptions, Hebrew and Latin, okay, scattered throughout the whole of this district, which bears witness to the importance of the Jewish community of Carthage in Roman times. All right, does that make it clear? And where was Hannibal from? From Carthage. In previous historic essays, the writer has treated of the persistent traditions in this country of a glorious Jewish past. The traditions, the language, the customs, all of Israelites, all right, Jews. It says traditions attached to the Judeo-Berber race, all right, or race, showing you that what? The Berbers were Israelites, man, all right, they were Jake. It says, which century after century held out against the Romans and the Arabs, because you had, Muhammad and his people, all right, them Ishmaelites, they were also dark-skinned, but they came up in there trying to push their ways, all right, upon Israelites, and that's how you have the Moors, okay, which were Israelites practicing the religion of Islam. It says it was in the 7th century that this race of Bahuzim, or Jewish nomad warriors, rose in the desert under the leadership of the great Jewish queen Daya, or Damia el-Kahena, the priestess celebrated for her beauty, so on and so forth. But this was basically the main point I wanted to convey, all right, showing you that Hannibal, all right, as we read earlier, okay, was an Israelite. And it says he even commanded his troops. I'm gonna read it again. It is certain, all right, based on the information they found, it is certain then that it was in a Hebrew dialect that Hannibal commanded the troops which he led across the Alps. All right, and the book is about like 400 and somewhat pages, and he's basically going into how, because he was actually there, and how the things they found and the people that were there, North Africa and all these different areas, not just in Carthage, all right, Morocco, Algeria, all these places were Israelites, man. Okay, and that's why Esau made it, like I just showed you, so difficult to try and get this book. Damn demons. All right, now I have this here. All right, I took pictures of it. This is from the book. I actually have this book, From Babylon to Timbuktu. Okay, and this is going into the Moors. All right, and they were also Israelites. So it says, this is page 110. It says, these black Moors ruled, which Moor just means black. All right, so it says these black Moors ruled over parts of Spain for more than 700 years, because they came northward from North Africa, where you have Morocco, and you come up into the Iberian Peninsula, up into Spain. All right, it says for more than 700 years. During this time, the Moors developed the greatest cultural civilization known anywhere in Europe. So people would think that when they think of Europe and the things, the technology, the science, the information, they think of Esau, they think of Caucasians, they think of so-called white people who came up with all this. No, during this time, those Edomites or those so-called white people were down. They were in the slums. The same way we're in the ghettos now, they were in the bottom, and there was dark-skinned people ruling. All right, the Roman Empire, okay, when you had the Nerva Antonine time period, okay, those were Israelites, man. Marcus Aurelius and all of them, Septimius Severus, all the way down to what's this guy's name? Constantine, Okay, all of them, they were Israelites. They were Jake. Okay. So at that time, matter of fact, there's a precept on that. I believe it's Revelation chapter 20. This is Revelation chapter 20 verse 1. It says, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit." And that angel was Yahweh Shai, and a great chain in his hand. Why? We're going to read it. "And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan," and that's talking about Esau, "and bound him 1,000 years." All right, and the bottomless pit is Europe. Okay, so it says, "And bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season." So this was when the Edomites fell, when they went down. Okay, and you had Israelites come up in there and started ruling. So you'll realize that Israelites or dark-skinned people, okay, today so-called Negroes, right? All these, they're Israelites. Guess what? We ruled in Europe for over 1,000 years. All right, and for that time period, where do you think Esau was? He was on the bottom, because we were the ones ruling. All right, these European, areas, man, empires, and so on and so forth. That was us. And when they came up into power, all right. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand and all of them, they started coming up into power, all right, during the Renaissance era and all of that. That's why they called it rebirth, all right, or Renaissance, which means rebirth, because that's when they started to whitewash, color over us, because of all that, of 1,000 years, the statues and all those that were built, those were of us, of Israelites. So when they came into power, they said what? They said, now that seal is off us, and we're loosed a little season to go and do damage. So that's when they started repainting. So if you get these books of like different icons, like the Russia icons and so on and so forth, you'll see a lot of them in there are dark skinned. Okay, they're dark skinned people, man, because Esau tried, but he couldn't get everything. So let's read. It says, "In the last half of the 11th century, there emerged a powerful dynasty." Now, the way it goes is, if we're talking about the 11th century, that's the 1000s. If we're talking about the 12th century, that's the 1100s. Okay, so it says, "A powerful dynasty of sultans from Senegal, West Africa, known as Almoravids, they established their capital at Marrakesh, Morocco, and became masters of a new empire that included Senegal, Morocco, Algeria, Tunis." Now, we read about Tunis, all right, that great, from this book, Travels in North Africa, we read about that great Jewish civilization, all right, that was where? Close to Tunis, okay? So let's keep going. It says, Tunis and southern Spain. This empire was even larger than Western Europe. At this time, the first general of the Senegalese was Abu Bakr, who was supplanted by a stronger general, Yusuf bin Taktfin, which this part is not really important to what I'm looking for. So we're going to come down here. It says, "The Moors were known for more than just conquest. While the remaining part of Europe was in a state of ignorance, the Spanish people took advantage of the knowledge of the black Moors. During the Moorish rule, many other capitals of Europe were mere hamlets, but Cordova, the capital of Spain, was a booming city. Because that's where Jake was at. All right. It is said that after dark, one could walk many miles in Cordova. All right. Now, when you look it up today, that's a city in Spain. All right. But it's pronounced or spelt Cordoba. So let's look up pronunciation so we can get it right. Cordoba.
Cordoba.
Oh, Cordoba. Okay. See, you learn something new every day. So it says Cordoba. All right, even though it's pronounced with a V. So let's read that. It says, "It is said that after dark, one could walk many miles in Cordoba and never passed through a street not lighted by public lights. So that means they were so advanced that they had street lights on every street. So even at night, you could walk in there and you'll be good. When a person walked out after dark in London, he had to carry a candle or lantern with him to illuminate his path, and had to wear high shoes to walk through the thick mud that often covered the roads. All right, showing you the difference between where Israelites were ruling and how it was good, street lights and everything, and where the Edomites were. All right, where you had muddy streets and all of that. Okay. The next one, it says, this is page 111. When many Europeans were garbed in skins and in coarse garments, the Moors were wearing silks, linen, and cotton cloth. They also washed in 900 bathhouses of Cordoba. It says the palace of the Moorish Sultan or Caliph, which that's a Sultan or a Caliph is like somebody in a high position, in the whole Muslim thing. Because remember, like I said, the Moors were Israelites practicing the Muslim religion. So it says was far greater in beauty, comfort, and wealth than any of the castles of the medieval kings. The Moors used extremely highly polished marble in their construction. The sides of the walls were patiently carved, and the floors were made with various decorations called mosaics. It is said that the Moors were masters in mosaic work. All right, I'm going to jump down. It says there were many famous Moorish and Hebrew scholars in southern Spain. The black Jews, like the Arabs and Moors, made a great contribution not only to Afro-Asian civilization, but also to the European. The Jews in East knew Greek and Syriac. They helped translate the works of the Greek philosophers into Arabic. In turn, these works were studied by the Arabic or the Arab-speaking Jews of North Africa and Spain, and translated into Hebrew. All right, showing you how where Jake is at, man, is gonna flourish. All right, because naturally, by nature, the way we were created, we excel at things, man. All right, and we're very brilliant people. It says the black Jews of the Moorish kingdom of Spain translated these works into the Latin language. So what are Jews doing in Moorish kingdoms if they're not the same people? Okay, one were practicing Judaism, the other were practicing Islam, and then you also had Israelite Christians. So it says these works into the Latin language, and from Spain the sciences of the Greeks and the Afro-Asian people were transmitted to Western Europe. Erudite or erudite, which is it basically means like, one who's like brilliant, smart, up there like that. Up there like that. All right, it says having or showing great knowledge of or learning. All right, so a learned man. So learned Moorish men made spectacular contributions to philosophy, medicine, mathematics, chemistry, astronomy, and botany. The Muslim doctors were no Sorbonnes. Now you'll see something like this, right? The Muslim doctors were no Sorbonnes, but masters of their science, and automatically you're thinking of Ishmael. No, these were Israelites. Okay, they established academies and universities for the rich. Also, there were many free schools. There were excellent libraries. See, and here's the thing, they'll try to take credit. You have people that, oh look, Muslims did this, Muslims did that. No, it was Israelites, because it doesn't matter whether the Israelites were practicing Islam or were practicing Judaism or were practicing Christianity. The people who did it were still Israelites. All right. Today, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, but specifically for the Moors, they were of the Southern Kingdom. All right, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So you can't try to give the religion credit for the nation of the people who did it. All right. Okay, they might have been practicing Islam, but the people who were doing the brilliance, the intelligence came from Israelites. Okay, the people who were these doctors and good at mathematics and chemistry and brought all these things, they were Israelites. Okay, so Ishmael or the Arabs might practice Islam, but you can't give them credit for something that was done by Israelites, though they may practice the same religion. Okay, because religion has nothing to do with the kind of spirit or intellect or erudite the Lord gave Israel. It says, there were free schools, there were excellent libraries. The scholarship caliph of Cordoba in the 10th century, and this is the last page, the 10th century sent all over the world for books. The library of this caliph contained over 400,000 volumes. Moorish normal life was based on agriculture, manufacturing, and trade. The Moors brought into Spain rice, cotton, peaches, oranges, and lemons. Silk culture was introduced into Spain by the Moors. Once again, Israelites. But Esau comes up into power and tries to take credit for all this and make us seem like we were swinging on vines and trees in Africa somewhere. Well, guess what? The people who brought these things, they brought them from Africa, right? Because Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, that's in Africa. And Spain is literally off the coast right there. You can literally cross from North Africa into Spain, man. Okay? It says the Moors had fine pottery, glazed tiles, silks, velvet, brocades, jewels, and ornamental leather products. Moorish civilization had a gigantic effect on Portugal and Spain. So they made them advanced. They introduced all these different things. And then when they were driven out and Esau came into power, he took what we had already put and introduced and then tried to make it seem like it's his. It says this is the reason that these two countries were the first European powers to emerge after the Dark Ages. So once again, when Esau came into power, guess what? The highly advanced areas were, like it says, Spain and Portugal. Why? Because we had built it up. And then Esau came in there and took it and then started using it. You know, so when the Spanish and all them, when they came over here to the Americas, you know, Christopher Columbus or Cristobal Colon, all right, and all of these different Cortez and all of them, you thinking, oh yeah, Esau, look at, oh damn, the ships and all that they built, all the things they got, they took from us. It says, in the process of time, the Moors were driven southward. In the 11th century, El Cid, which is what's that? Rodriguez, I believe it's Rodriguez Diaz or Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, that's what they call him. All right, conquered the great Moorish city of Valencia. Much later in the 13th century, the king of Castile conquered Sevilla and Cordoba. Now that was the main area where the Moors were at. It says afterward the Moors were pushed into a small region called Granada. All right, so that was just a quick, you know, little bit of information to bring out. I came across and, you know, I brought it out low, willing to bring some edification. All right, because hey man, when you really go into it, man, there's a lot of information, a lot of truth that has been hidden. Okay, or it's there. All right, but if you don't, or if you're not guided to it, or if you don't go looking, guess what? You're not gonna find it. You're gonna be sitting here believing everything Esau tells you, but really he's lying to you. And that's why he fears you gaining this knowledge and information, because then you can see through his lies. All right, you can see right through it. And that's why the scriptures say, Revelation, let me try to refresh this. I'll open a new link. All right, the book of Revelation. Okay, so this just doesn't want to load. All right, that's fine. I'll read it off my phone then. All right, here it is saying, hey, look, man. All right, we built for this. Anyway, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So we read the scriptures, but you know, we'll read like other archaeological finds or geographical information, or you know, historical documents. All right, to gain more knowledge, all right, concerning the scriptures, because the scriptures tell you, all right, that you know, to the making of many books there is no end. You know, so you got certain people that'll, you know, they'll go, oh, I read this book and I jumped in here and the book of Negaz and the, you know, Talmud and the this and all that, and you'll get bugged out. Okay, we go into these different books and we get what we need. All right, because some of them have, these books will have bones. They'll give you information, good, accurate information, but then they'll put lies up in there. So you got to be able to filter it. Okay, and then take the information you need. All right, and then you go back to the scriptures, man, because everything goes back to the scriptures, and we filter history and other sources of information with the scriptures and not vice versa. All right, we don't validate the scriptures with these, we validate these with the scriptures, you could say, because the scriptures say, the Bible says that what none shall want her mate. So there's no other book out there that is on the same level or can be mixed with the scriptures, man. The Lord built the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation, Apocrypha included, all right, to be able to stand by itself, man. Okay, but anyway, I'm gonna end it off here. Lord willing, this was edifying and informative to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.